For years I searched. I traveled across faiths, across beliefs, across the world, convinced that somewhere, someone held the key to life's greatest treasure, fulfillments. But in the end, the answer was always with me. Have you ever felt that gnawing emptiness, that persistent sense that something vital is missing from your life? I have, and I spent 17 years chasing its remedy. I was born into a home where faith was law. My father, a devout man, clung to scripture like a life raft. Each evening he would gather us in the living room, his voice firm yet gentle as he read ancient words promising salvation and peace. My mother, soft-spoken yet firm, ensured that prayer was woven into the fabric of our daily lives. Every morning, every night, my family knelt before an unseen force, surrendering our hopes, our fears, our very existence. "This is your inheritance," my father would say, placing his hand on my shoulder. "More valuable than gold or land, never let it go." They said faith was everything, that without it, I was nothing. And so I clung to it too. But even as a child, doubts whispered in the corners of my mind. If faith alone was enough, why did the kind shopkeeper who prayed daily lose his wife to illness? Why did children in our community go hungry despite their parents' devotion? If divine protection surrounded us, why did I still feel afraid, uncertain, incomplete? The questions grew louder as I aged. In school, I met people from different backgrounds. A Muslim classmate who spoke of Allah with the same conviction my father spoke of Christ. A Hindu friend whose devotion to multiple deities seemed no less sincere than my singular focus. The world outside my home painted a different picture. It was filled with people who believed in different gods, followed different traditions, yet they too spoke of fulfillment. Could they all be right? Or were they all lost, just like me? As graduation approached, while my peers planned careers and futures, I found myself planning a different journey. I needed answers that no university could provide, and so I made a decision. I would immerse myself completely in different belief systems, searching for the master key to happiness, success, and true fulfillment. "You're throwing your life away," my father warned, his voice breaking with disappointment. "Truth isn't found in wandering." But my path was set. I began with Christianity. I committed myself fully. I prayed fervently, read scripture from cover to cover, fasted for days, sought counsel from pastors and theologians. I joined mission trips to remote villages, built churches with my hands, shared testimonies with strangers. They told me faith would fill the void inside me, that surrendering to God would bring me peace. And for a while it did. The community embraced me, the rituals anchored my days. But then doubt returned, persistent as ever. "Is certainty without questioning truly faith?" I asked a pastor one evening. He looked away. "Some questions aren't meant to be answered in this life." The following year, I turned to Islam. The discipline was unlike anything I had ever known. 5 daily prayers, fasting during Ramadan, deep reflections on the teachings of the Prophet. I studied Arabic, memorized surahs, found community in the mosque. "Submission to Allah's will brings true freedom," my teacher explained as we broke fast together. It grounded me, gave me purpose. The structure of Islamic life offered clarity in a chaotic world, yet the question still lingered. Was this the answer, or just another step in my search? A year after that, I tried Buddhism. I learned the art of detachment, of inner peace through silence and stillness. I sat for hours in meditation, waiting for enlightenment to wash over me. I lived simply, owned nothing but necessities, sought to extinguish desire. "Your suffering comes from attachment," a teacher observed, as I struggled with a particularly difficult meditation. "Let go and peace will follow." I tried. I emptied my mind, released expectations, and yet the emptiness remained, a void that philosophy couldn't fill. My journey continued. I returned to my ancestral roots, to the practices my grandparents had followed before missionaries arrived. I sought wisdom from the old ways, from ancestors and spirits. I learned about the balance of nature, the power of rituals, the stories passed down for generations. Under starlit skies, elders taught me to listen to the land, to honor those who came before. "We are never alone," a healer told me as we prepared traditional medicine. "Our ancestors walked beside us." There was beauty in it, a connection to something ancient, but still my spirit wandered. Eventually, I abandoned faith altogether, placed my trust in science, in logic, in reason. I sought truth in facts, in what could be proven. I attended lectures, devoured books on evolution and cosmology, debated with scholars. "The universe is indifferent to our existence," a scientist told me over coffee. "That's not depressing, it's liberating." But where facts ended, my longing began again. Science explained the mechanics of life, but not its meaning. 15 years had passed. 15 years chasing the illusion of a master key. I had lived through different faiths and philosophies, and yet the answer remained elusive. I had devoted my life to this quest, sacrificing friendships, love, and the joys of simply living. I had seen the world, but I had not lived in it. One ordinary Tuesday, sitting alone in a cafe watching strangers pass by, some hurried, some leisurely, all on their own journeys, something shifted inside me. I watched a mother comfort her crying child, a young couple holding hands, an elderly man feeding pigeons. No grand spiritual revelation, just humans being human. And then, in that quiet moment, it hit me. The key was never out there. It was never hidden in scriptures, rituals, or doctrines. It was never in the prayers I whispered or the gods I sought. The key was me. It had always been me. It was never about the religion. It was never about the belief system. It was about the decisions I made, the actions I took, the way I shaped my own path. The master key was always me. Each tradition had offered pieces of truth, fragments of wisdom. But no single path held the complete answer, because the complete answer wasn't in a doctrine or philosophy. It was in the way I lived each day, the compassion I showed, the purpose I created. I'm not defined by a title, by a faith, by a philosophy. I'm defined by my choices, my resilience, my actions. Happiness, success, fulfillment. These are not granted by unseen forces. They are created, nurtured, and earned. The master key was never in the hands of gods or traditions. It was in mine all along. I finally returned home after all those years, not as a prodigal son, but as a man who had found his own truth. My father, older now, but eyes still bright with conviction, asked if I had found what I was searching for. With a smile, I simply said, "Yes, the master key is you. Don't ever forget that." Stay safe and cheers.